Yeah. How's it going?
Yeah, you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So I actually have two very easy questions, and all you have to do is just get one right. And I'm gonna tell you this, 100% of the time, everybody gets at least one right, basically. All right.
Okay.
So the first one is a perception test, and the second one is like a physical measurement. So this one of these circles is actually bigger than the other one. So I want to see if people could tell which one's the correct one, which one's the bigger one, red or blue.
There's one that's actually bigger?
Yes.
Blue's bigger.
You think blue? And which one do you think?
This is the exact same size of paper?
Oh yeah, the paper is the exact same size, same everything. The only thing that's different is the green square, obviously. That's just to kind of throw the ratio off a bit, you know.
They look really similar. Maybe the blue one.
You go with blue?
Yeah.
Blue? Okay. So you almost had it, so they are the same size. So it's a trick question. So I don't expect everybody to get this one. A lot of people actually don't. And the reason why I start with this one is because just believing someone obviously opens the door to being deceived, right? Because you guys believe me that one was bigger, and that's why you guys, you know, made up your mind based on that, on a lie, right? So that's how you guys were tricked. But this second one, again, don't take my word for it. This one's like an obvious one. You know, this is the one that literally everyone gets correct. You know, I even ask elementary students. That's why the question's there. So you guys know what this is, right?
Level?
A level, right? Yeah, what do we use these for? They use them in construction, right?
Yeah.
What do they use them for in construction? Do you know?
To make sure the stuff's level.
Right, make straight, right? So if you're what would be your definition of level if I was to ask you? Like a simple definition of level.
Just straight.
Straight. Could we say horizontal though?
Horizontally,
Horizontal,
yeah.
because if something is at a slope, it's not level, right? If something's at a slope like that, it's not level, right? Could we agree on that, right? It has to be horizontal. That's the little definition of level, right? So since we understand the definition of level, you know, and basically the reason why there's liquid in here is because I don't know if you knew, but the surface of water always equalizes when it's contained, right? Like the lake, the surface of the water is always level, horizontal. Exactly. That's what water does, you know, that's the physics of water, right?
Yeah.
So since we understand the physics of water and what level means, again, this one's very easy. Which one of these two is correct, A or B? Very easy. A, right? It's the obvious answer, right? So the real reason I do this is not to see if people, you know if, you know, the definition of level, right? Because obviously everybody knows, right? The real reason I do this is because could we say that somebody that believes in this, obviously they're not smarter than a fifth grader, right? If they think the answer is B, right? Could we say they're not smarter than a fifth grader, right? So will it surprise you to know that over 95% of the population, maybe even including you guys, because I did too, actually believe it's B, even though we know it's A, right? You guys want to know why?
Why?
Do you guys believe the Earth is a ball?
Yeah.
Right? So they tell us that the Earth has a certain dimension, which is 24,901 miles. You actually have the exact formula here. It's a radius of 39,959. So it has to be curvature 8 inches per mile squared. So at the first mile, there should be an 8-inch drop. Second mile, a 32-inch drop. And by the third mile, it should be a 72 inches, which is 6 feet drop of curvature. So if we were to build a perfectly level structure, horizontal, over a lake that's 3 miles across, the water underneath should be dipping away from that structure, right? Because they're telling us Earth is a ball, right? Yeah. So that should be measurable. We should be if we start at 5 feet, the gap from the water and the level structure should increase by 6 feet in 3 miles. If Earth is truly a globe, right? Because people think that gravity's holding the water and curving it, right? Yeah. That's like number one proof, you know? If I was to ask you guys, what's the number one proof that convinces you that the Earth is a globe? Just off the top of your head, like.
I think just the day and night.
Just that there's day and night?
Probably even the moon.
Pictures from
the moon.
Pictures from the moon.
So photographs, right?
Well, even like when getting in between the sun, you have the crescent moon.
Okay, so the shadow of the moon.
Shadow of the Earth.
Okay.
On the moon.
So the shadow on the moon, right? First of all, I would say that's kind of a red herring, and a red herring means it's a false argument. So they're telling us that the physics of water is actually doing something contrary to what we experience, right? Which is level, right? So looking at the stars and moon is not actually measuring the ground. You know what I'm saying? So just looking at a curve. In reality, in my opinion, if you look into, you know, the moon and the luminaries, nobody actually knows why that happens. Like nobody really knows what the sun and moon actually are. So science, you know, they try to tell us, and they admit their theories, you know, their theories.
So you don't believe like the satellites that go up and take videos of
Yeah, so about pictures or well, what they claim photographs are, what people think
Earth and stuff, they go all the way out into space and they like can actually see you know.
Yeah. The images they show. So NASA actually admits what they show us. They're actually images. And the reason why they're called images is because they're photoshopped. And basically they admit that. And the reason why they admit that is because so they don't get sued basically in court. So it has to be in writing.
It's like private industry.
Yeah, even all space agencies are basically connected to government, because even Tesla, right, with SpaceX, right, they get a lot of funding from NASA. They admit it, and even he admits that if it wasn't for NASA, you know, we wouldn't go to space, or we wouldn't have made it to space, right? But again, my number one proof, again, even if people say they could see it or they photograph the Earth, NASA claims to orbit the Earth with satellites, right? So they have to know the radius of orbit. So they actually give us these numbers. You know, I didn't make these numbers up. You know, this is the exact curvature of the Earth that they tell us. And again, if it is curving, we should be able to measure it here on Earth. You know, people say they see the curvature when they're on an airplane, right, or when you're at the beach, and they think they see a curvature, right? Yeah. But we actually have a limit to our perspective. I don't know if you knew that, but we don't see infinitely, right? There's a limit to our eyesight. Yeah. If I hold like a quarter in front of you and I move it away, you probably won't even see it, not even half a mile away, you know? It'll disappear because you'll just get too small and the eye won't be able to pick it up anymore. So the reason why boats disappear over the curvature is because they're just going out of your sight, basically, you know? And people think that's the curve. Again, if you could see the curvature, we should be able to measure it. And even if the Earth was twice the size they tell us, half of this curvature should still be measurable. You know what I'm saying? It should always be curvature there. In any lake on Earth, even the oceans, you know?
Go back to perspective.
Yeah, perspective, yeah. So we see, our eyes are spherical, so we kind of see like in pyramid, you know? Parallel lines.
I feel like you'd have to have so many people colluding on that conspiracy that, like, you can't get 10 people to agree on a line.
Right.
To toe the line. Like, you couldn't possibly get Elon Musk and, you know, like,
all the other space,
right. Everybody who's actually like gone out into space, all the astronauts.
Right.
There's too many. I think somebody would have been a whistleblower up to this point to really be like, okay, guys, this is actually what I see.
Right. So actually, when you look into this, because this information is actually being censored, I came across this 6 years ago, and it's been censored since like 2018, 2019. That's the only reason why I'm out here, literally. If it wasn't for the fact that it's being censored, I wouldn't be out here, because people, you know, people are smart, you know, people have common sense. People
take you into space, and they just said, look, you can just look out this window here,
right,
and you can just watch the Earth get smaller
right.
and smaller. And we're going to break through. You can see the clouds. You're going to see, you know, space.
Right.
And I'm going to give you. You bring your own camera.
Right. Yeah.
Would that convince you?
So here's the thing about things going up to space. So nobody really needs to go on one of these rockets and go. What NASA, I mean, a lot of people have done. Let me just before, you know, people have sent amateur balloons, helium balloons, giant helium balloons with cameras, and you could see there's hundreds of videos, and everybody's balloons only reach 20 miles high. That's the maximum, I think, in my opinion, human beings have ever gone. 20 miles. That's it. And the horizon rises to eye level, which wouldn't happen on a globe, because if the floor is curving away from you. Yeah. So the thing about satellites, if you were to Google satellites on your phone, you won't find any real images of a satellite in space, because they're all CGI in space. I don't know. So this is another big one for people that.
So you don't think there's satellites in space?
So the reason why is because outer space is just a concept. So, for example, everything that they told us about space, the distance to the stars, what the stars actually are, all of that.
The result of it, though.
No. So
the internet that comes from space.
Right.
You see the
photographs. So let me just show you what the stars actually look like.
From space.
Well, again, this is what the stars actually look like. Look, there's actually a powerful zoom camera. Have you guys heard of the Nikon P900? It's a powerful zoom camera. It's like 83 times zoom. So people have been zooming into the stars, and this is what the stars actually look like. They look like it's a light twinkling in water. So here's another thing about the stars. They tell us that they're trillions and millions of miles away, right? We shouldn't be able to zoom into them and focus on them if we're only 83 times zoom. You know what I'm saying? They should still look like a white twinkling star like we see them at night, if they're truly that far. 83 times zoom is nothing compared to trillion. So the Earth is not flat. That's the thing. So for example, this paper is flat, right? But if we have it tilted, it's not level, right? So the proper term, so flat Earth was a term to be propped up, to be mocked, but the Earth is level, measurably level. Why? Because water tells us that. That's where we get our definition of horizontal, of level, from water. That's the number one tool in construction to measure horizontal. So basically the Earth is not flat, but again,
why are
it's
all
level.
the other planets a sphere?
So here's my thing. So these are the planets. Again, they look exactly at the stars. They're literally at the same distance. In my opinion, I would just call them luminaries because we don't know what they are. They tell us they're terra firma, that they're solid and gas like Earth, right? And that you could physically land on them. But these are just lights in the sky. Everything that they're telling us, again, it's just the concept. It's just the story. Everything about space is just a story. Earth is the only plane of existence, basically. So nothing exists outside of us, you know. So that brought me to creation. Again, I'm not biblical at all. I actually believe all religions were there to control. And the heliocentric model is the modern day religion. So that's the big religion that everybody believes. Why? Because they give us a creation story, just like every other religion. The evolution, the Big Bang, you know. All these are just theories, but they might as well be Bible scriptures, you know. They just call them theories instead, you know what I'm saying? Because they're just stories. They can't be backed up. You know, it's a pretty big... Have you guys heard of this subject before?
Yeah, we have.
You guys have? How long ago, if you don't mind me asking?
We've probably always known about it, sort of.
Really? Because I came across this 6 years ago in 2016. And like, again, it's being censored since like 2018, 2019. And a lot of people have heard about it. You know, that's why. But yeah, you know, I actually have some info if you guys want to take home if you're interested. Again, it is being censored. And that's why, you know, I have... here, let me just give you a flyer. You guys could share it unless you want a separate one here. You guys have any questions before you guys go? I mean...
well, this is like the first time we've been away from our kids for a while. So.
Oh, so here's some info. Those are the 6 main proofs regarding this. And then there's some links there, you know, some websites that, you know, if you just search this subject, you will never come across this information. Trust me. But you could, you know, cross-reference. Yeah, you know, I implore people to do that, you know, cross-reference, you know. And again, go to physics, understand physics, you know. Physics doesn't lie, people lie, you know. Right? All right, thanks, man. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Have a good one. Thank you.